I mean, what a shot. Talk about nostalgia, right? Blockbuster, dude. God, Blockbuster. Now, I was born in 1989, but there is this weird nostalgia as if we experienced this time. This video is titled "What It Was Like to Live in America in the 1980s." Man, I love this kind of stuff. It feels almost like I experienced it, but really only through movies and images. But I like this kind of stuff. Let's have some fun, all right? This channel's called It's Different There. And this is America in the 1980s. Should be a good time.
There is something about America in the 1980s that people who lived through it cannot forget. The neon colors, the synthesizers, the sense that anything was possible. And if someone lived through it, they know exactly what made that decade so electric. This was a time when America was feeling confident again after the difficulties of the 1970s. Ronald Reagan was in the White House, promising morning in America. MTV was revolutionizing how people experienced music. The Cold War was still very real.
Dude, MTV reigned supreme. I mean, even 2004. Every morning, dude. Whew, every morning you waiting for that top 10. Ooh, what a special time.
But the economy was booming. The mall was the center of teenage social life. This was the decade that gave us personal computers, VCRS, blockbuster movies, and a culture of optimism and excess. The uncertainty of the 1970s was fading, and America was ready to celebrate. Technology was changing daily life in ways that felt thrilling and futuristic. Being American in the 1980s meant living through a decade of bold colors, big dreams, and genuine belief in American power. Let's walk through what daily life actually felt like during that unforgettable
Look at that feeling of that.
decade. Some of this might bring back memories. Some of it reveals just how much has changed in 40 years. Let's step into that world.
I would argue real quick before this party really starts, I surround myself with some kind of old stuff, but I'm in the new millennium. I get it. I just like it. But I would argue that this kind of the colors, the futuristic, the simplicity of it all, TV, the radio, that carried through for quite a long time. I would even say in through to the mid 2000s. I say by 2010, it was kind of on the teeter out, but I would say all through the 90s and definitely 2000 to 2005, this feeling was alive and well. I was 16 in 2005. So like I remember vividly. Like everything was colorful. Everything seemed like so everything seemed so new. Everything was coming out. It was something crazy. The graphics and the colors and everything that you could pick any color of anything. Um, it felt that way even then. So I want to say, like, yeah, I didn't live in the 80s, but I feel as if that feeling of the 80s and the 90s still carried through strong and really topped out 2000, 2005, 2007. It's my personal opinion. I lived it. And that's how I feel about the whole situation.
Homes in 1980s. America had a very distinct aesthetic. The earth tones of the 1970s were out. Pastel colors were in. Mauve, peach,
Oh,
dusty
yeah.
rose, and teal-covered walls and furniture. Miami Vice made these colors cool, and suddenly, everyone wanted that look. Living rooms featured sectional sofas in bold geometric patterns. Glass and brass coffee tables sat on plush carpeting. Entertainment centers made of particle
Dude, the entertainment center. I had one. Anybody who's a long time watcher of the channel, I'll pop it in. But I used to have that as my backdrop from 1988, something like that. It's my mom's. I kept it. I still got it. I still got it. It's in the garage.
board with faux wood finish dominated one wall,
Yep.
designed specifically to hold all the new technology. The television was still large and boxy, but now it might be 25 or 27 inches. Most families had cable television by the mid-1980s, which meant dozens of channels instead of just 3 or 4. HBO, Showtime, CNN, ESPN, and MTV changed what television meant. The remote control became standard. though it was large and clunky with actual buttons.
You know what I miss about the remote controls? Remember they used to glow? The buttons would glow? They don't do that no more. What's with that, man? That's messed up, dude. Hold on, my girl just came home. Hey, honey, remember when TV remotes used to glow? They had the light up buttons? Oh, that was the best. Oh my God. I know, I know.
Fighting over the
I
remote
don't
became
know.
a family dynamic. The VCR was the technology that changed
Yeah, I'm in the middle of filming. My bad.
everything about home entertainment. Families could record shows to watch later. They could rent movies and watch them at home. Blockbuster
Wow.
Video opened its first store in 1985, and within a few years, there was one in every town. Going to Blockbuster
Little fun lesson for you guys. The reason why the video store even came about was because back when they were bringing out VHS tapes originally, a VHS tape would cost about $100, like 70 to $100. And this is in the 80s, dude. So that's a lot of bread. All right. Even nowadays, you ain't spending no 75 bucks on a movie in today's economy. So some dude genius idea to go, I'll rent these. I'll buy the movie and I'll rent them out to people. This is how it came about. Then Blockbuster, one of the big ones, said, hey, let me work with the movie companies and make a deal and make a profit split. And that is how the video rental game came about. In case you didn't know. I'm a nerd for this kind of stuff. No big deal.
on Friday night became a ritual. Walking the aisles looking at VHS boxes, trying to find something everyone could agree on,
I love
hoping the
that.
movie you wanted was actually in stock. The new releases section was always picked over. Late fees became a dreaded reality. The microwave oven became standard in American kitchens during the 1980s. The ability to heat food in minutes changed how families ate. Frozen dinners designed for the microwave
This is when everyone started to get fat. Blame it on the 80s.
filled supermarket freezers.
No offense.
TV dinners could be ready in 5 minutes instead of 45. This felt revolutionary. Cordless phones appeared
Dude, look at that jacket real quick. If you're not watching right now, you're just listening. She's got a color black jacket on. Vibrant pink, yellow, black with a blue undershirt. I mean, that's just beautiful, man. It's like so funky. It's fun. It's a good time. The colors were unreal back then. Now everything just looks like a dentist office. No offense. I like my teeth clean as much as the next guy, but good God.
in the mid-1980s, though they were expensive. Being able to walk around while talking on the phone was liberating. The phones were bulky, and the reception was often filled with static, but they felt incredibly futuristic. Teenagers would take the cordless phone into their rooms for privacy, though the range was limited. The answering machine also
I don't know. Maybe when I was 12, it was a big thing. Cell phones weren't really a real deal. None of my parents had one at that time, like 2000, 2001. But I remember a big deal was getting your own landline. Yeah, you get your own landline in your room. I don't know if you guys experienced. You probably did. You probably did. But that was like a big deal. You had your own phone number. Ooh, damn. I remember my boy Nick, first time he got a cell phone. He was 16. No, he was 15. I was 14. And I remember you're like, dude, you have a cell phone? Bro, it was mind blowing. Mind blowing. And even the cell phones then, even 2003, 2005, they were simple. It still felt like the vibe still felt kind of how they're doing it now. It felt I don't want to say the same because I didn't live in the 80s, but it still felt right. I don't know. There was a right separation of church and state, if you would. I'm glad I got to live it.
became common, allowing people to leave messages when no one was home. Coming home and checking the blinking light to see if anyone called was part of the daily routine. Personal computers started appearing in homes by the mid-1980s. The Apple II, the Commodore 64, and later the IBM PC brought computing into living rooms. These computers connected to the television and loaded programs from floppy disks. Kids used them for games. Adults used them for word processing and spreadsheets. Computer literacy became something parents worried their kids needed. Schools started adding
I had these exact kind of computers in elementary. I went to this like weird, I don't know, maybe everybody had them, but I went to an odd Christian school, very small school, but they had these kind of computers in there. But do you guys remember when, oh my God, dude, do you remember when for some reason you either had you had a family computer? Mine was in the kitchen for some reason, but it was always like kitchen adjacent. It was always like just outside the kitchen. In most other people's houses was the family computer. I'm feeling the memories coming back. It was so special. It was. I'll ruin those computers. 13-year-old boy, late at night, in the kitchen. You know what I'm talking about.
computer labs. Learning to type on a computer keyboard was seen as preparing for the future. By the late 1980s, some families had modems. Connecting to bulletin board systems, hearing that distinctive screeching dial-up sound, and waiting for information to slowly appear on screen was thrilling. The internet was not yet accessible to regular people, but the foundation was being laid. Ronald Reagan became president in 1981 and set the tone for the decade. His message was optimism. Morning in America. The
You guys remember Bell South, dude? Yo, my accountant, older cat, his emails at Bell South. Every time I send him, I gotta do taxes all the damn time. But every time I send him an email, I just go, damn, my boy still got Bell South, dude. That's crazy. Yahoo was like reign supreme back then, too. Well, not in the 80s. I'm talking when I was a kid. My bad. Like early 2000s.
malaise of the 1970s was over. America was back. Reagan's communication style, polished from his Hollywood years, made him the great communicator. He presented a vision of American strength and prosperity that many Americans embraced. The economy boomed through much of the decade after a severe recession in the early 1980s. By the mid-1980s, the stock market was soaring. Real estate prices were rising. Yuppies, young urban professionals.
I would say the 80s was the true birth of materialism in America. I would say 80s that was the time. That's when it was like, what are we buying next? I could be wrong.
Professionals became a cultural phenomenon. These were people in their 20s and 30s making serious money in business and finance. They wore power suits with shoulder pads, carried briefcases, and aspired to drive BMWs.
Yo,
Wall Street
I mean, that all sounds about right, minus the briefcases. But my dad used to walk around with a briefcase, dude. So funny.
became glamorous. Movies like Wall Street captured the excess and ambition of the era. Greed is good became an actual philosophy for some. The Cold War remained a constant presence throughout the 1980s. The Soviet Union was the enemy. Nuclear war felt like a real possibility. Movies like The Day After depicted nuclear devastation and traumatized viewers. Kids practiced duck and cover drills in schools.
No.
Though everyone knew hiding under a desk would not save anyone, Reagan took a hard line against.
It's like the equivalent of the school shooter nowadays. It's always been something. Every decade's always had some crazy stuff going down.
The changes were almost incomprehensible. Before we continue with the music and culture that defined this remarkable decade, if you are enjoying this journey into how Americans really lived and want to explore more decades and stories, consider subscribing. There is so much more to
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe, girl. I'm gonna give you a like. Leave a link to this channel down below. You could just subscribe here. Or don't. Doesn't matter to me.
uncover about the moments that shaped modern America. MTV launched on August 1st, 1981, and it changed everything about music and youth culture.
Jump in here with a quick commercial break. This one's for all my YouTubers and influencers out there, or hell, even if you do coaching. If you're looking to get yourself a phone number like this that you could put out to your audience so they can reach you and connect with you on another level, but also make a little money. Charge them $1 a minute, $3 a minute, $5 a minute. Connect with Me handles all that. They handle the billing. No need to worry about scheduling. You put the number out there. Somebody calls you, you pick up, they want to talk for 5 minutes, talk for 5 minutes. There's no monthly fees. They only take 20% of whatever phone calls you get. It's a great way to connect with your audience or make a little extra money. But more importantly, connecting with the people who support you and giving them the opportunity to talk to you. It's kind of like those old school 1-800 numbers. Connectwithme.com in the App Store. It's free, super easy to set up. Get yourself a phone number today. It's a really cool tool. I've been using it a long time. Had a lot of cool people call me. Great way to make a little extra money, but without having to deal with the headache of scheduling calls or worrying about the billing. Connect with Me does all of that. Connectwithme.com. Get there while you can.
The first video was Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles. For the first time, teenagers could watch music videos all day. MTV created new stars and destroyed careers based on whether artists looked good on camera. Madonna understood MTV perfectly. Her videos for Like a Virgin, Material Girl,
No.
and Like a Prayer made her the biggest star of the decade.
Material Girl? I'm telling you.
Michael Jackson's Thriller video was a cultural event. The 14-minute short film premiered in 1983 and everyone watched it. Jackson became the king of poppy. His album Thriller became the best-selling album of all time. Bruce Springsteen released Born in the USA in 1984. The album and its videos captured working-class American life. Prince combined rock, funk, and pop into something entirely his own. Purple Rain in 1984 made him a superstar. New wave and synth.
Yeah, that's one thing I didn't get to experience. Like, I know all the songs they're talking about, all the musicians, but MTV still reigned supreme when I was 12, 13 years old. It was still MTV, except for it was all rap. Everything was rap, or like some 41 and Blink 182, which was dope. Think about that, man. How many people got to literally see this happen? Just just Michael Jackson, just doing his thing. Yeah, when he was black. That's crazy. What a timeline shift. 1 minute he's black, 1 minute he's white. I think about that though, man. To be around when music was really, I don't know. That's why it's still around, in my opinion. It was so special that it's still relevant and prevalent today. That's how special it was. It was so special, we're still sitting here talking about it, looking at it, reminiscing on a time that most of us didn't even live through. I don't know. Feels right, though.
Synth pop dominated.
If I could go back in time just for a week, I think I would pick, I'll do like 1980, 85, 1987. Just for a week. Just see what it's like, Because we look at it from the outside looking in, and it looks so cool. The image, everything's got a grain to it because you were looking at it through video and photo. But like to go there and really be in it and realize you're in it, that'd be pretty cool.
Dominated the early 1980s. Duran Duran, The Human League, Depeche Mode, and Culture Club brought synthesizers and bold fashion. MTV loved these bands because their videos were visual spectacles. Hair metal took over the latter part of the decade. Motley Crue, Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, and Poison packed arenas. The bigger the hair and the louder the guitars, the better. Hip-hop was emerging from New York City.
No, dude.
Run
Breakdancing?
DMC, LL Cool J, and Public Enemy were creating something revolutionary. Hip-hop was still underground to most of white America, but it was growing. Walk This Way, the collaboration between Run DMC and Aerosmith in 1986, brought hip-hop to mainstream audiences. The Walkman made music portable. People could
And here I thought Jay-Z broke the mold doing that thing with Linkin Park. Shit.
listen to their own music anywhere. Jogging with headphones on became common. Making mixtapes for friends or romantic interests became an art form. Sitting by the radio waiting for your favorite song to play so you could record it onto cassette was a familiar frustration. Compact discs appeared in the mid-1980s. They were
I walked around with those, like, those no skip CD players. I experienced that. I had those. I had a Walkman for fun when I was older, just like as a nostalgic thing. Plenty of boomboxes, stereos. I like that kind of stuff. But I would say iPod, MP3 player, specifically the iPod, was like peak. We got to experience, at least my generation got to experience that peak, man. Because we got the CD player. We didn't deal with the Walkman, although that would be fun. And burning a CD was substantially easier than making a mixtape. Because dude, a mixtape, you had to record it perfectly. Then when another song came, you had to record it again. It wasn't just like drag and drop on the CD. That's crazy, man. What an era.
Expensive, but the sound quality was supposedly perfect. By the late 1980s, compact disc players were becoming affordable and people were replacing their vinyl collections. Movies in the 1980s were spectacular in ways that defined the decade. Blockbusters ruled. Steven Spielberg and George Lucas dominated. E.T. the Extraterrestrial in 1982 became a phenomenon. The image of the boy and the alien
The classic, dude. The flying.
on the bicycle flying across the moon was everywhere. Return of the Jedi in 1983 concluded the original Star Wars trilogy. Raiders of the Lost Ark and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom made Harrison Ford the biggest action star. John Hughes created the definitive.
I hate to say this, but I would say they really figured out movies mid 90s till about 2010. They had movies in the pocket. They figured it out, like the perfect pacing mixed with image. And I stand by that. I'm not saying movies from the 80s weren't amazing. I'm saying they really figured it out in the 90s and throughout the 2000s. They nailed it. They had it down to a science. I stand by that. I don't care what nobody says. You ever watch movies from the 70s? It's just so slow. I watched Casablanca, dude. I think I was in the 40s. That's the slowest movie I've ever damn seen. I love it, but I like old black and white films, but man, slow paced stuff, dude.
Teen movies. The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
in Pink captured teenage life in ways that resonated. These movies took teenagers seriously. They showed that teen problems mattered. Back to the Future in
Dude, Back to the Future. This theater by my crib plays old movies. I got to go watch it in theaters. I was so stoked. I wasn't alive when it came out in theaters. I'm check that out. Look at movie theaters around your neighborhood. See if they're playing old movies. Sometimes you won't know, like it'll be like 2 months from now they're playing, Indiana Jones or something, or like the original Star Wars. It's an experience. It's actually the only time I go to the movie theater now is to watch an old movie that I wasn't there when it happened. Wedding Crashers, saw that in the theaters not too long ago. It was a cool experience. Like I'm glad they're bringing that back. That's a cool thing. Check it out. You should. Something to do. It's a good date night too.
1985 was a perfect movie that combined science fiction, comedy, and heart. Die Hard in 1988 created a new kind of action movie. Top Gun in 1986 made Tom Cruise a superstar
The
and
Danger
made
Zone, dude.
everyone want to be a fighter pilot. Going to the movies was still a major outing. Theaters were not yet multiplexes in many places. You went to see a specific movie at a specific time. Lines wrapped around the building for big releases. Missing the showing meant waiting or coming back another.
I remember when this isn't in the 80s, obviously, but I remember when Too Fast, Too Furious came out. Whenever the hell that was, 2002 or something like that. I remember my parents dropped me off, and there were all these people out there, all the cars with the neon lights underneath it. Dude, there was a line. I mean, I'm talking, it was almost like a concert was going on. People pulling up with their cars, like kind of how we saw the Darth Vader outside the original Star Wars. That's like the closest thing I have to experiencing like theater culture at its, at a relevant peak. So pretty cool.
Other day. Shopping in the 1980s meant going to the mall, and malls were at their absolute peak. Every suburb had a mall. These were not just shopping centers, they were social spaces. Teenagers went to the mall just to hang out, walking around,
Hit the mall later, food court, cruise some chicks. I'm just kidding.
looking at stores, maybe buying something at the arcade, getting food at the food court. The food court was a 1980s innovation. Instead of one restaurant, there were a dozen different options all in one space. Orange Julius, Sparrow, and Chinese food from places with names like Panda Express. Department stores anchored the malls: JCPenney, Sears, Macy's, and Nordstrom.
Yo, Sears was top dog at one point. That's crazy. This is like reverse now. It's funny. Oh, well, you can't see it because me here. Let me get me over. This is literally reverse now. Back then, Sears was top dog. Nordstrom wasn't. Now Nordstrom's like boom, and Sears is like bleep, a little blimp. That's funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's just timeline changed.
These stores had multiple floors and sold everything. New stores defined 1980s mall culture. The Gap sold casual American clothing. The Limited targeted young professional women. Benetton, with its colorful sweaters, was everywhere. The Body Shop brought natural beauty products. Sam Goody and Tower Records sold music.
Man, I miss the music store. Sam Goody. What was the other one called? I forget. Sam Goody was a big one. I miss that. I do. I mean, I go to vintage places and, you can get CDs and stuff, but yeah, it's like, come on. That was a special era, man. I was. Blockbuster, the music store. I loved when it was all separate. It wasn't just all on your phone. I loved that everything was its own party, a movie, its own party, it's its own mission. Music, it's its own mission. Calling somebody, it's a whole mission. Your computer, it's a whole separate thing. I do miss that. I really believe the early 2000s was like pinnacle. 2005, peak. Computer was still separate. Cell phone was just there, separate. Music was still separate. I know the iPod was around, but it was still like you got to put the aux cord in for your car. Everything was still separated, man. Like a perfect level of everything is its own fun, its own party, its own something to do. Now it's just all in one place on one device. I don't know. It felt good. And I still use these things. I still have DVDs and CDs and tapes and all that. I still got that stuff. I still use it from time to time. But it's definitely, it's not the same. You know what I mean?
The record store was a destination, flipping through CDs and cassettes, listening to albums on the headphones at the listening station, checking out concert posters on the walls. Arcades were everywhere in the 1980s. Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, and later games like Street Fighter II drew crowds. Arcades were loud, dark spaces filled with teenagers feeding quarters into machines. The competition was intense. Getting the high score meant your initial stayed on the machine for everyone to see. The Nintendo Entertainment System launched in America in 1985, and it changed home gaming forever. Nintendo and Super Mario Bros. Were revolutionary. Kids begged their parents for a Nintendo. Playing video games at home became a standard part.
It was the same 1998. I don't know, I was 8 or 9. Got that Nintendo 64, dude. And then every console every year just got better and better. It was like the PlayStation 2, dude, the Xbox. And then it just kind of peaked out. It's peaked out now. Graphics are almost too good. But I couldn't imagine being at the very start of it and then seeing how crazy it got over the years. That is cool, man. Think about how much has changed. If you were, let's say you were 20 years old in 1985, just think about how many things you've seen. Imagine being 75 right now. The amount of changes you've experienced. It's kind of incredible, actually. What a time, What a time to live through.
Part of childhood. The graphics were primitive by today's standards, but at the time they were amazing. Food in the 1980s reflected both health consciousness and excess. Lean cuisine and other diet frozen meals targeted women worried about calories. Salad bars became fixtures in restaurants. The idea of building your own salad with dozens of options felt
I think, that he lost me at the salad, man. I would say the '80s was the start of a lot of stuff, though, man. I'm gonna go ahead and say materialism was born. I'm gonna say obesity, materialism, obesity. Um, I think it was also born in the '80s. Just such a good time. I think the '90s, I think the early 2000s was really peak, pinnacle, where it all kind of came crashing into each other. My personal opinion. I think that maybe that's because I lived it, but I don't know. I'm even looking at it objectively. I think it was like the perfect amount of cell phone, computer separate, iPod, MP3, you still use CD players. Your car wasn't you know, maybe throw in GPS in there and it would have been like the perfect era of everything just coming together. Uh, that's my personal opinion. I'm 52, and this isn't the future we were promised. What I remember most about the '80s was going outside to play. Uh, I was an '80s kid. Now I'm 51. I would love to go back to the '80s. So much has changed for the worse. I would happily give back smartphones and the internet to go back. Well, that's the thing about the early 2000s. I think it was like perfect, like just minus the smartphone. I think it was this perfect level of internet separated from everything else. It was still there. It was just such a short window. That's the thing. I just remember it because it was such a special time in my life, and I knew what we had then. It was great to be a teen in the '80s. Enough technology to make life enjoyable, but not enough to completely consume it. Yeah, 1000%. The '80s were the 1950s of my generation. Okay. Food in malls were cheap. Even someone making minimum wage could afford a movie and a mall meal and have money left over for video arcades. Say, yeah, dude. Those were the best days of my life. The movies and the music of the '80s were absolutely hands down the best. Yeah, they had some good music, some good movies too. Great movies. But I'll say the '90s and the early 2000s movies were pinnacle. I don't know about music, but movies were pinnacle. Let me see. Graduated high school in '88. If you were not there living, breathing, experience it, there's no video, no reminiscing that can come close to getting the point across. Most of us Gen X had love for the '90s also, as those were when we were in our 20s, and it was glorious time as well. Days like that never existed again, and mankind will suffer for that. Look at the world now. Most of us would give anything to be able to go back, even if it were for a summer break, for closure. I miss it almost every day, and I know I'm not alone. Love for my fellow Gen Xers. We're not dreaming, rose colored glasses. We really did live in the best time period. We really did have it all. Unreal, man. I'll leave the link to this guy's YouTube channel down below, but I still keep some of it around. Even if I wasn't living there. I wasn't alive when this TV was made or this cool sign came out when I was just a kid or something, but I don't know. It's fun. I like it. Anyways, back to 2026. Unreal. Hell of a talk.